Mass Effect 5, are you ready for more unbelievable disappointment?
To talk about a very old school BioWare style game in Exodus. So for those who missed our first video on Exodus, I highlighted this is where the old school BioWare that many of you adore went to. So you have talent like
Oh, this game.
James Olin, who was the lead designer on the likes of Code.
Wait, what? This is clickbait. The next Mass Effect is here. They're saying Mass Effect. Huh. Still not really too hopeful. We saw this game. It looks questionable in some aspects.
Tour and Dragon Age Origins heading up this project. You have Drew Karpyshyn, who wrote the likes of KOTOR, which I think is like the best gaming story ever, Jade Empire, which is incredible, as well as the entirety of Mass Effect. He is writing this game. He is the lead writer. So there's a lot of old BioWare talent backing this game. That does not guarantee it'll be great, as I highlighted in that video, but it certainly makes for an exciting formula when you look at also the game itself, which is very much Interstellar meets Mass Effect and has a baby. It looks awesome. And after a lot of talk from the developers, they've done a lot of Q&As. We covered those as well.
Wait, how does this look like Interstellar meets Mass Effect, though? How does this look like Interstellar at all?
We finally get to lay eyes on brand new gameplay. You see, this was first revealed at the Game Awards last year, and it was the briefest snippet after a big cinematic trailer of maybe 20-30 seconds of gameplay. And honestly, not all of it looked fantastic, where I thought we might be shaping up for a potential, if you will,
at this point, it looks more like Mass Effect meets Destiny.
Callisto Protocol kind of experience of, hey, that reminds me of the thing I like, just not as great as that original thing. But right now, what we're looking at is pre-alpha gameplay. And for pre-alpha, this is looking sharp in my opinion. There's a lot to be excited about. I just want to share some thoughts on this trailer and on the future of this game, when it might be coming out, as we continue to cover Exodus. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here and you're into what's going on with BioWare or BioWare-like games, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. So like I mentioned, pre-alpha gameplay, pretty early phase of development, all things considered. But here's the catch, is that last year's gameplay was also considered pre-alpha. So compared to that, it's been shined up quite a bit. A lot of the community was a little annoyed that they finally showed out with a ton of gameplay and there was no date, no window. Here's why I love that. We have faced a lot.
What do you mean? Here's why you love that. It's an objectively bad cliffhanger thing. Come on.
Of disappointment in 2024, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to ambitious.
In 2024 and 2023, hell, the last couple of years of gaming have been pretty suspect, if you ask me.
AAA projects. And whether this is a 2025 or 2026 game, I don't know and I don't care. This is a brand new team, despite the talent that's there, that has been assembled to take on a pretty big task, which is creating a massive new AAA sci-fi IP that goes beyond just video games. I highlighted how there's already a book tied into the Exodus world. If you go to their website and you scroll through the dozens of lore articles they have, this is already before.
Yeah, these dozens of lore articles and videos, by the way, I have seen them. They're like, what fuck me, I guess? A lot of things are very superficial and require setup because they probably can't just occur in the world naturally, like some kind of colony ship that leaves and the guy who owns it is like this insane guy and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that's super questionable and probably is just there for shock value. So I don't know how to feel about this. It doesn't look super woke. Has woke aspects. Seems decent, but we don't know anything for certain. The lore seems a bunch of question marks at the moment. This is such a giant. Just what the hell is actually happening here?
Before the game is even launched, a completely rich universe full of lore and eventually products for you to dive into. So the goals for this game are lofty. And because of that,
yeah, you effectively have also your Tyranid type of flood thing here, by the way. Yep.
They should take every bit of time they can, because it reminds me a little bit of those pre-Destiny days where you were really sizing up, 10 years long and all this expanded media content planned for it. And in a way, given that Bungie is in an awful position now. But before all of that, it looked like it paid off, right? That whole long-term investment has made Destiny a long-term enduring franchise, despite live service being a bit of a roller coaster like this. So I'm cool with them tucking the date away.
Destiny has no right to be as successful as this. Destiny is a horror show. If you are a new player to Destiny, the game unironically literally tries its best to just make you quit it because it's just so bad. The lore has been gutted. No one knows what's happening. You literally need to watch a 20-hour video to figure out what's happening in the lore and why it's happening. Destiny did not deserve any of its acclaim that it honestly has received. Destiny is sadly somehow the only style of shooter that exists on that sci-fi level, looter shooter that people like. People constantly call Warframe similar to Destiny, and I agree, but I would say that roughly, the conversion rate is maybe 3 out of 10 people who like Destiny for what it is are gonna be, Warframe scratches this itch. So, yeah, Destiny kind of is enjoying the same crap as Overwatch, aka there's not really a game that's capable of doing the same thing at the same level, and it has virtually no competition. I think the moment that something happens, Destiny is just going to be yeeted and deleted out of the window, the same way that currently Marvel Rivals is kind of slapping Overwatch. Now, how far into the future this is going to reach, don't know. But currently, it's happening. Again, there are tons of games that currently exist that are not actually that great, that literally spit on new players and spit on old players, and there's just no real counterpart to them, and that's why they receive a lot of acclaim.
And saving it for a time that they feel comfortable they can deliver it. And for now, I'm happy just
honestly, name me a game that has a worse new player experience than Destiny. It's really hard to find something like that. It is incredibly hard to find. I think Destiny by far is the worst new player experience of all time in gaming. It just things that are worse than it are single developer asset flip games on Steam. That's pretty much it. But those cost 5 pence to buy, so it's not even close.
Lay eyes on this game with more extensive gameplay and have them back up the talk that they've had. One thing that they've mentioned a lot in all of their little Q&As is, yeah, it's fun to play. Wish we could tell you more. Sorry. But now they finally get to back it up a little bit. We get a little bit of a look at the characters. But
is there actually anything like that?
More than anything, we get a look at that massive...
Well, you see, stuff like this, you see? It doesn't look spectacular, but, that's a man that looks like a man. That's a woman that kind of looks like a woman. She even has boobage and stuff.
But more than anything, we get a look at that Mass Effect 1.
Not exactly super hot, but she's just like an average person, so that does make kind of sense. At least it looks like a woman. Even though it does have a couple of why do you have that there.
Effect 2, animation style. Some people were a little let down by facial animations. I think for pre-alpha, it looks solid, but here is the honest truth that I've said multiple times before. When it comes to facial animations, I will always be critical of them, but in
don't hit the animal. Ugh.
Hardcore RPGs that are supposed to be super reactive, it's not something that's gonna make or break my experience.
Okay, listen, here's the deal with animals, okay? Killing a bear in a fantasy medieval game, fine. Killing a bear in a science fiction setting when it's turned into a weapon, not fine.
Facial animations, I will always be critical of them, but in hardcore RPGs that are supposed to be super reactive, it's not something that's gonna make or break my experience. Do I want something like Andromeda? No. Do I...
Okay, let's look at the woman a little bit more, because, that's why we're here, right?
Or...
We can see some cleavage, okay? She's... the haircut could use some work, but it's not bad. I would say that this is a solid 6 out of 10. Maybe a 7 out of 10, Who knows? Well, what do you rate this boy's at?
break my experience. Do I want something like Andromeda? No. Do I expect something like the level of Baldur's Gate 3, which had so many unique animations per conversation that it made my head spin? Of course, that is ideal, but it doesn't make or break those
The old ones, eh?
experiences, because speaking of old school BioWare, I was raised on the likes of KOTOR, where they cycle the same 3-4 conversation animations where they're pumping their fist
And it was amazing.
outwards and then going like this, or they're kind of gesturing out and then glazing their hand left to right. Like, I've seen these animations over and over, and to me it's just about what they're saying. So I don't really overanalyze that stuff. When I saw the little jog run around these planets was very Mass Effect like. That is obviously the audience they're gunning for. The Mass Effect 4 you never got. The Mass Effect, the BioWare style game that you never got. This seems to be what they're aiming for. But I love the way they're evolving what I would expect out of a little bit of a BioWare experience. For example, there was stealth gameplay, crouching around, taking out enemies from behind. Did not expect that to be in this game. So some level of freedom of approach is here. But
that would be nice. I mean, this could succeed very easily, right? You just add talent points, add less smoke, add ways that you can approach situations and whatnot, and you kind of have yourself an almost reasonable game. Okay? It doesn't take a lot to make a game that's maybe not great, but at least is playable, right?
Main selling point is the action-packed third-person combat that looks ridiculous. We saw a grapple gun where the main character would like shoot up and go on top of a pillar, and he was trying to hide from one of the awakened bears, which we'll get into what the awakened are in just a moment here if you don't know what they are, but trying to hide up there from them, and this dude takes down the entire tower, and then he falls on the bear.
Oh my god, that sounds like a fucking typical scripted boss fight interaction. What? Why are you spurging out about this so much? Jesus Christ, Maddie, like, grow a pair. Jeez.
And literally stabs him in the head for almost like a finishing move. I just thought that was awesome, and more importantly,
holy shit, yeah, never seen that before.
I think Cell's action combat nowadays is dynamic. Like, that sort of sequence alone, if that's truly how the final game ends up, where you can do things like that and things can happen like that, that is the story you tell beyond the actual storytelling, right? Like, there are choices, and we'll debate those all day long, but the gameplay itself, right? The gameplay itself and how you can actually have that moment where the...
Have you actually seen anything from the gameplay? Huh.
Environment around you is crumbling.
I'm pretty sure we haven't. I'm pretty sure everything's just a pre-rendered type of deal, and some of it looks good, some of it looks bad. I think the universe this is set in could be an absolute mess. Again, if you go read some of the lore that this game already technically has, and some excerpts and snippets, there seems to be a lot of like, oh, shock factor that literally doesn't honestly even fit in this world. Again, like a colony ship or whatever the hell it was supposed to be, and it's launched by this guy who's essentially just picking hot women or something like that. It's fucking stupid.
And you just have a moment-to-moment thought.
Like, it completely doesn't fit in the universe. There's like, in this game, for some reason, corruption seems to be omega rampant or whatever, but it doesn't kind of fit. So, the game universe probably will need a huge amount of work to make sense.
That takes you to victory. That's the water cooler moment, and I'm excited about that sort of stuff, too. To have a grapple gun...
Because keep in mind, listen, good choices to choose in dialogue, and when I say good, I don't mean ethically, but having good choices in dialogue, good options and whatnot, doesn't make a good game if your overall lore is shit. If it's not understandable, if it's just a bunch of random things, okay? Me having the opportunity to add whichever colored sprinkles I want on top of my shit is not gonna make me not understand that it's a shit.
In just environmental traversal as well as in combat is great. It does look like it's going to be used in a contextual way. It wasn't like he was latching it on to anything in the environment. It looks like in specific moments you'll be using that.
Well, it looks like it's not even attached to his arm, so 10 out of 10.
So I wouldn't expect a level of like insane freedom, but it is a different level of movement than what we're accustomed to in Mass Effect. Because what I think of when I go movement, Mass Effect, I think of my favorite class in Mass Effect in the Vanguard, where you just press the Y button and you dive that sucker, and then you ground pound, especially in Mass Effect 3.
People
Good
did
God,
love this,
I think
yeah.
the Vanguard class feels amazing. So to see a level of mobility here was really cool on top of stealth gameplay. There were also melee attacks with some sort of mechanical, electrical, energetic object coming out of your hand. Reminded me a lot.
Wait. Just to remind everyone about Mass Effect, we could have gotten the story ending and story without the fucking Reapers, without any of that. Well, actually, with the Reapers, but it would play out different. With the idea that it's not about humans and machines merging, but it's about the dark matter technologies being used in anti-matter. What's the thing called that allows you to use space magic? I forgot. But yeah, that actually is kind of destroying the universe faster and things like that. That could have been cool, but instead we got 3 colors.
Of the Omni tool.
Wait, 4 colors. 4 colors. I'm sorry.
Well, that was in Mass Effect 3, where you could like pull people over cover and impale them. I thought that was awesome. So again, I'm seeing a lot of Mass Effect, and that excites me because as time has gone on and as RPG after RPG has let me down, or fantasy RPGs have become the go-to, I've been hungering for that sort of sci-fi RPG that satiates me, because I really haven't had that in a while, and I'm hoping that this one will be it. And again, because they're holding the date, I'm hoping that is a sign that they recognize the task in front of them, that there are a lot of people who are hoping BioWare would deliver something really special, but really have yet to, because we're years away from the next Mass Effect. And especially when, I don't mean to dog on them, but when I look at the casting and I look at the people they are hiring for the Mass Effect TV show that's reportedly underway.
Oh, there's a Mass Effect
about
TV show? Holy shit, that's gonna be mega gay.
What Mass Effect is to BioWare. But I don't want to sell this game as a home run before it actually hits, because again, I used this reference earlier. Callisto Protocol is a really good point of reflection for all of us. I remember, oh my god, they nailed the marketing for that game. Every bit of the Callisto Protocol was just hitting its stride with every showing. The brutal kills, the UI built onto your body, everything said Dead Space. And Dead Space for me is my favorite ever survival horror game. So this was an easy sell. But then what I got at the end of the day was like a heavily linear, melee-focused, survival-ish horror kind of game. And it didn't really pan out as well as I had liked. Is it an awful game? No, but it paled in comparison to the original. And with these developers going off and making their own studios, and especially in the case of Mass Effect, where like Humanoid Origin, which was Casey Hudson's team, just shut down after 3 years. Mac Walters went to go work on his own game, and he was one of the leads on Mass Effect. His studio lost funding. So really it's up to James Olin and Drew Karpyshyn to deliver on the BioWare prophecy. Otherwise, all these ex-BioWare devs just had funding pulled or lost their studios and haven't delivered anything. So again, the pressure.
Well, we're gonna see. Anyway, what do you think about this? I don't know. Seems too early, honestly, to tell. There's good, there's bad. Again, I really think it's too early to tell. A lot of things just don't fall in place already, though, which is kind of a serious problem. Considering that it's story elements and world-building elements, I don't think that they're gonna be fixed. So, while it is too early to tell, at the same time, it's kind of going down for me personally. But not because it's necessarily woke, even though there we have a lot of strange women do best and for no reason and whatnot things, but you know, who knows how this is gonna end. Anyway, that was Mr. Matty. Placed 10 out of 10. Bye.